live in Kansas City with a 300-miler for the NASCAR Busch Series set to begin. I know it's still September, but it's close enough to October for today's Grand Marshal to do his thing. How about it, Mr. October?
The honorary starter for today's Mr. Goodcents 300 is Mr. Frank Weimer, guest of Mr. Goodcents and the Foundation for Senior Citizens of Independence. Now, race fans, to get today's action underway and to utter the most famous words in racing, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
Are you ready for some racing? Gentlemen, let's light them up.
About time for Mr. October, and he's got the field ready to go in today's NASCAR Busch Series race at the Kansas Speedway. We find out if the Winston Cup drivers winning on Saturday trend continues in a moment. 78,000 here at the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas for today's NASCAR Busch Series 300-miler. Beautiful afternoon. The weather's great. The crowd is huge. The action on the track, well, we'll hope that it's just as intense as it was here a year ago. Let's check out the starting grid for today's race. Some Winston Cuppers sweeping the first couple of rows. Michael Waltrip, first pole of this season. He won at Michigan. There's Jeff Burton, 3 wins and 10 starts this year. He goes from the outside of the front row.
On the inside of row 2 is Todd Bodine. Last week, 43rd, his worst finish this year. And Jimmy Spencer will have to go to the back because of his happy hour practice crash.
Jason Keller, second in the championship. 35 points behind Greg Biffle. He goes from row 3 with Jeff Green.
On the inside of row 5, Stacy Compton and Johnny Sauter. Great qualifying run. Best of the bestest rookie challengers.
Next driver in line, Shane Meal, also one of the rookie challengers. He's in row number 5 along with Ron Hornaday.
On the inside of row 6, Bobby Hamilton Jr. His crew chief told me this morning he's the car to beat today. Then the naming. First race in a while, back on the outside.
Joe Nemechek got his crew chief Brian Patty back with him this week. He's in row number 7.
And it's Jack Sprague on the outside of row 8. Guys rebounded great in the last 3 races.
Ashton Lewis, Randy LaJoy, row number 9. LaJoy, the 2-time Busch Series champ.
On the inside of row 10, Greg Biffle. On the outside, Kerry Earnhardt as Biffle tries to hold on to that lead.
Got to come from deep in traffic. Scott Riggs drives for the team that won the race a year ago. He's in row 11. There's Mike McLaughlin driving for Joe Gibbs and Jamie McMurray in row 12.
On the inside of row 13, Tony Raines. On the outside is last week's winner, Scott Wimmer. Let's try to talk to him. Scott Wimmer, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Out clear, Benny.
All right, buddy, how's the car?
He had you.
Scott, how's your race car?
Not too bad, Benny. New England Finance, a Pontiac's pretty good. Didn't qualify quite where we wanted to, but it's a long race, and hopefully we'll work our way up to the front.
What's up with this qualifying, Scott?
I don't know. We were talking about that the last couple weeks. We just can't get the hang of it, but you know, it's something we're going to work hard over the winter to hopefully cure and start qualifying up front a little better.
Well, let's see 2 in a row, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to see he's got a sponsor on the side of that car this week. I talked to those folks down, and that might be something for next year.
They're working on it. And Scott Wimmer will be a threat for the Busch Series Championship 2003, so hopefully Bill Davis can find some backing for that team. Unable to qualify for today's race. Some pretty famous names in there. Wallace and Marlin.
It's too bad for Mike Wallace. Those guys have been to a lot of races this year.
Okay, Marty, look, I helped you come out on top of Dave in that little entertainment competition there, didn't I?
Yeah, you won me $10. Big deal, Alan. I'm still cleaning up. So anyway, I just disappointed you guys didn't send down some milk with the banana cream pie. But let's talk Jeff Green. He starts 6th today. Won this race last year, but the car in happy hour, he said, was terrible. They made a bunch of changes this morning, and he said, I didn't forget how I won that race last year either. They won it on pit strategy and fuel mileage. It could be a factor today. Matt?
Marty, Johnny Sauter is one of 5 first-time winners in 2002. His win came at Chicago, his sister track to Kansas, in this very race car. He will start 8th today. He's searching his second career win, and more importantly, a top 5 finish, something he's only done one time in his last 8 races. But he told me this morning that they found something in the final 2 minutes of happy hour. They've gone more in that direction. They feel like the Blue Deuce is going to be a car they have a shot to win today. Dave?
Let me start by saying I'm glad I lost the bet today. Now let's talk Joe Nemechek. He has over 200 NASCAR Busch Series starts, including a pole and win in July at Daytona. But last night in happy hour, his car was extremely tight, undrivable. And so crew chief Brian Patty went back to their Chicagoland setup, a very similar racetrack where Joe finished 4th earlier this year. Alan?
Got 7 cars, check that, 6 cars that have to go to the back of the field. The race to the back on the pace laps has been intense, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Harmon, the 77 car, Eric Jones, the 98 of Casey Kane, all changed engines. Chad Chaff and Jimmy Spencer, they're in backup cars. And Kevin Grubb qualified the 54. Tim Feeder was going to start it.
Storyline for today, this is a very tough racetrack. They asked me about caution flags. I picked the over-under at 6. What do you think, Wally?
I think we're going to go over.
Alan?
I'll take the under. Last year there were 5.
Okay. Get in the groove. Can we get this groove widened out just a little bit? What do you think, Wally?
I think we can. I think it's going to take a while, but I think the groove will work up the racetrack a little bit.
Let's hope so. And this championship battle. Last week, Keller halved the distance between Biffle and himself. Can he do the same this week?
Keller starting 5th, Biffle starting 19th. Traffic, if there is an incident in the opening laps, favors Keller far more than it does Biffle. Getting set to go. Michael Waltrip, winner at Michigan. A track somewhat similar to this, moderate banking, big and fast.
And I talked to the driver this morning and asked if they drove this racetrack like they did Chicago. And the answer was nothing like Chicago, which surprised me because they do look very similar.
There's Keller as he gets set to go. Jeff Burton, been so strong in almost every one of these Busch Series races he's been in this season. 200 laps to make up the 300-mile distance today. $1,230,000 on the line. And it's time for the second NASCAR Busch Series race at Kansas, the Mr. Goodcents 300. Waltrip and Burton bring the field down for the start.
Boy, Jeff wanted down on the bottom. He's almost there. Really bad.
Christian Fittipaldi's about to get a NASCAR rules lesson.
Did he pass on the left?
Before he crossed the start-finish line, he's going to get the black flag.
I've done that.
Johnny Sauter, that good car up on the high side, is able to make it through 3 and 4 at a pretty competitive speed.
Jason Keller underneath Jeff Green for a spot. That'll be 4th place. Up front, it's Michael Waltrip, Todd Bodine, and Jeff Burton, the first 3.
Oh, Sauter's still up there on the high side.
And for the lead, here comes Todd Bodine in the 92. Big, important race for this team. The team owned by the Herzogs, based in St. Joseph, Missouri. I guess Michael Waltrip decided to use a little air there on Bodine.
Yep, looked like he drove right up behind him trying to get him loose.
Fittipaldi.
Oh, another car is spinning up in the middle of the corner, but some heavy damage to Christian Fittipaldi's car.
And one spinning down in 1. Jeff Green in the slowdown after the caution flag. Looks like got bumped.
That'd be a hat trick, wouldn't it?
3 at once. 77, that's Eric Jones in his 5th career Busch Series start. And Waltrip and Bodine coming back around to the caution flag.
Well, Christian Fittipaldi's not going to get too much experience today in this 30 car. I don't know if they can get this car fixed to get back on the racetrack.
Wonder if he was slowing down to come to the pits and somebody behind him didn't see it. Find out when we come back. Right now, it only took a couple of laps for us to go under the caution flag at Kansas today. Wendy's race menu. Tomorrow, the race for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship continues on NBC, 12:30 Eastern Time. from here at the Kansas Speedway. And it's on to Talladega, Charlotte, Martinsville. Just 7 races to go after tomorrow's event to decide who will be the NASCAR Winston Cup title holder for 2002.
I told these guys there wasn't a second groove just yet, Benny.
Well, I know. Did you tell them that?
I did.
Christian Fittipaldi, black car, yellow trim.
He just got up there in the gray area, and you can actually see a little bit of dirt flying off the right rear tire when he gets up there. It's very slick up there.
And on board Kenny Wallace's Stacker 2 car. That's Fittipaldi. He gets in and just in that gray area, and there's no grip, very little grip, I'll put it that way, and around he goes.
Now here's the other end of the racetrack, just past the start-finish line.
Looked like Jeff Green got a little bit of help there from Bobby Hamilton Jr.
1, 2, 2.5. And he didn't hit anything. That's pretty lucky.
Was lucky. He had to come in and change 4 tires because he put ball spots on them.
And the third driver involved in the incident. That's Eric Jones.
Not sure what happened on that one.
I think he just got down on the apron when he went low around the wreck and lost control of the car there. So let's see. Jeff Green has made a pit stop. Ron Young has been in. Joe Buford has stopped. Hank Parker Jr. Bobby Hamilton Jr. And now we're set to go back racing with Todd Bodine leading Michael Waltrip. Jeff Burton lost a number of spots in those first couple of laps. You see him back there racing Lyndon Amick for 6th and 7th. Remember, he started on the outside of the front row in that green 9 car.
Lyndon Amick, this is his first start since Richmond in May for the NASCAR Busch Series. This is a car fielded by the same folks that have Jason Keller's car and Scott Rick's car.
Okay, so having seen Fittipaldi spin basically by himself using that outside lane in 3, you think all these spotters up here on the roof that communicate with the drivers have relayed that information to the cockpit?
I don't think they need to. I think the guys that have run this series long enough know that it's slippery up there and not to get up there.
Here's Burton by Amick. That'll be 6th place.
And Lyndon Amick, that white card, quickly backs off, lets Burton go, and drives to the inside. And Burton must have gotten a corner too deep because here comes Amick back by. It's hard to get back by. It does.
And up ahead, Shane Neal in the 47, sliding in front of Ron Hornaday in the 26. That was for 4th place. Lead change.
Mikey, the 99, trying to go back in front. Here comes Jason Keller. Well, you know, Keller wants to get in front of Michael Waltrip. Will lead a lap of this race, get those 5 bonus points.
Greg Biffle is back in 17th right now. Jason Keller is 2nd. Still very early. There's Biffle still hung up in that traffic. And on a track like this where the racing groove is so narrow in the first part of this race, he's going to have a hard time picking his way to the front.
Yeah, we've been watching him. It looks like he's got a good race car, but he can't get anywhere. He's trying to make these guys ahead of him a little bit loose to kind of shove them out of the groove a little bit. But I think it's going to take a little time to get these tires wore down before he can do any more of that.
Reggie Jackson, we saw give the command to start engines for this race. Dave, he's got a special rooting interest in the competition.
Well, absolutely. He's part owner of this car. And Reggie, they didn't call you Mr. April, so you know leading early on in this race doesn't mean anything. But did you get these guys pumped up today?
You know, the only thing I'll say about that, Dave, is it does keep you out of trouble when somebody does crash. You know, and you learn it and understand that it does help when you're out of trouble because you're your own insurance company. So I don't mind being up front early.
And you tried to hit home runs early on in the season, too, didn't you?
Well, everybody tries to, that's for sure. But it's getting close to October right now. So I'm starting to feel pretty good about our team. We're still trying to chase some sponsorship, so we certainly could use a victory here.
All right, trouble on the racetrack. Reggie Jackson, a great guy to have on board, guys.
Part owner of the 92 car that Todd Bodine drives, and that's Ricky Hendrick, who's in trouble.
Again, it looked like Ricky got out of the groove. We got a guy spinning off a 2.
Ron Hornaday has gone around.
Yep, watch this inside wall, Ron. We see some damage to the left rear of his car.
He may have gotten
Sure looks like it by the look of that rear bumper.
Okay, the first one, there were 3 of them involved. We've only got 2 this time. Where's the third one?
We're not done yet. Racing back to the yellow.
Yeah.
It looked like Ricky said earlier, got up in the gray and lost it.
Hornaday is, look at these, where it's dragging the racetrack. Well, I guess that's a piece of tape that's coming back. I thought it was sparks first when I first saw it.
Yeah.
But he has to pit quickly because it looks like the right front tire is flat. If he rides around there, the tire has a chance of coming apart and tearing the fender up. So it's not legal to pit now, but he had no choice.
Okay, so only 2 of them involved in this one. Ricky Hendrick and Ron Hornaday in separate spins. 12 laps in, 2 caution flags. A slow start to the day today at Kansas.
For the first time on network television.
We're taking down that casino convict. You're going to tell us how.
Don't miss Ben Affleck, Charlize Theron, and Gary Sinise in Reindeer Games. Sunday, October 6th at 8 only.
Okay, trust us. It's a good movie with a lot of cool pictures to see.
Reindeer Games, October 6th.
October the 6th. Okay. Here at Kansas Speedway, let's show you some pictures of cars wrecking. Early here in the NASCAR Busch Series race.
CP, I can't figure this one out.
I can't either because we see Ricky Hendrick, and all of a sudden it looks like he backed off the throttle or something. It's something might have happened. He backed off the throttle, but he's been in and out of the pit, so I can't imagine. I don't know what happened there.
Coming at you. Now, this is coming off of turn 2, coming back to the yellow.
Yeah, Burton got him arrow loose. Ron Hornaday there, he got that car arrow loose, and then as he spun, caught the front of the car. I just don't understand that. That was racing back to the yellow.
You know they'd already had taken the caution flag.
Like Schrader says, he took the air off his spoiler, and then he hit him.
I guess they hadn't actually taken the caution flag. They're probably down in turn 1,
right.
And you're right, we're racing back.
Back underway with Michael Waltrip leading, Jason Keller second, Todd Bodine third, Shane Neal fourth, and Jeff Burton rounding out your top 5. Greg Biffle running back in 16th place.
And here comes Shane Neal, the 47 car on the inside of Todd Bodine, trying to take away the 3rd spot.
22 years old, rookie driver Shane Neal. And Jeff Burton is going to follow him through. It's mentioned that guys who pitted under that caution flag, Jimmy Spencer, Steve Grissom, Jeff Green, Kenny Wallace, Casey Kane was in, Larry Foyt pitted, Tim Sauter, Ron Hornaday and Ricky Hendrick both also came in. Dave, we've seen Jeff Green on pit road about, what, 4 times in the race now?
Yeah, Alan, and of course they were checking for any damage on the car after he got spun. They did change 4 tires. I just checked with Butch Hilton, the crew chief. He said the damage is not affecting the car. It's okay. And they did get a set of tires to replace those that were flat spotted on that spin. From NASCAR, I mean.
Explaining that NASCAR limits the number of tires teams can change under the caution flag in these Busch Series races. Today they get to change tires 3 times under the yellow, but since Jeff Green spun out just a couple laps into the race, they gave him another set of tires.
So he gets to change tires 4 times. 4 times.
But basically only had a couple laps on that first set. So I mean that's an okay call.
I think it's okay. I don't have
to start with that.
Yeah. Michael Waltrip is the leader. This is back for the 12th and 13th place. Johnny Sauter in the 2, Scott Riggs in the 10.
That's Mark Green, the dark car behind him.
And Kerry Earnhardt in the 12. And just behind them, Greg Biffle. Championship leader still hung up in that traffic. Don't want to beat that one up too much, but as slick as this racetrack seems to be, what we've seen in these opening laps, Biffle's, he's in the danger zone right here.
Well, he really is, and you can tell that he understands how slick and how treacherous the racetrack is because he's really not putting his car in any kind of position to be in any kind of trouble. If trouble finds him, it's going to be because of something that happens in front of him. I don't think that Biffle is going to cause the problems like he did last week at Dover.
Unless you can get the guy loose in front of you.
Greg Biffle, one of many teams who came here and tested as we watch Riggs put a move on Sauter there. That's 12th place.
Which allows Mark Green to get a run on the 2-car.
This is where things can get touchy for Biffle.
And watch this. Oh, man. Mark Green's spotter was really on his toes to tell him quickly that Kerry Earnhardt was looking on the inside.
Mark's going to lose a few spots on this one. Getting up on the outside there.
Kerry Earnhardt is through. Here comes Greg Biffle. And that 33 car is Tony Raines. Still side by side.
Marty, what is saying to Mark Green's pit?
Well, you talked about his spotter. You know, spotting for him today, a guy who's got a lot of experience in the Busch Series. His brother, David Green, is his spotter today, and I know he's trying to get him down that lower lane, BP.
He's trying to find him a spot to get down, but he pulled out right in front of Tony Raines. If he lost any momentum at all, then Raines will pull up, and there's another spot down the tube. Looks like he's going to be okay now.
5th place. Stacy Compton in the 59, Nemechek in the 87, trying to put a move on Todd Bodine in the corner.
And Nemechek started back in the 14th spot, so he has passed some cars and passes another one.
And right behind them, the 7 car, Randy LaJoie, he started 18th. He's up to 8th and trying to move forward. So LaJoie with a nice little run in the early going. Michael Waltrip is in command. He's led all but 7 of the laps that have been run so far. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Check our Stacker 2 race fact. We ride with Kenny Wallace. Last year, Kevin LePage started on pole, finished 12th. Jeff Green picked up his 4th victory of the season, running the final 68 laps without stopping for fuel, while others came in with about 29 to go.
Where's Kenny running?
Kenny stopped on that last caution, so he's back in 30th. Michael Waltrip is out in front of the pack now, leading by 1.5 seconds on Jason Keller. Here's a change for the 11th spot. Scott Riggs in the 10, moving up. In the garage, Mike Harmon, Chad Chaffin, Christian Fittipaldi, and now Ricky Hendricks behind the wall. Matt?
The 5 team tried to repair the car on pit road. Now Ricky is pulled behind the wall. What all are they going to have to do to the car, Ricky?
Well, the car wasn't doing so bad at the beginning. Everybody was checking up a lot. We were just kind of biding our time, and I guess Spencer was behind me and kind of just took the air right off of me. And I don't know. I got to see the replay, but all of a sudden the thing was backwards before I knew it.
Trouble in turn 4. Ron Young in the 63 got bumped from behind and spun into the outside wall. Steve Grissom went around in the 34 car.
And we can see where Grissom has driven up under the back of someone. That's Jimmy Spencer's car. Sponsored by the Air Force, Mr. Grissom.
And the 49 car of Joe Buford also took to the grass, but he's continued on and is catching back up with the pack. There's Ron Young in the 63 car.
And could it be the left rear tire was the problem there? I don't know. It certainly is off the rim.
Conyers, Georgia driver, second start for this team, scheduled to finish out the year in this car.
Looks like there's a lot of damage to the wheel, though.
Yeah,
That's
see the damage right there.
All right, what happened?
Looks like somebody got underneath somebody and got into the left for a quarter panel.
That's Casey Kane in the 98 car, and Grissom runs in the back of Casey Kane. And Larry Fort. Oh, and Joe Buford just barely misses Steve Grissom. That caused him to spin as he goes down through the grass.
So, yeah, right here. Casey got in the back of Ron. And they stacked them up. So that's 3?
That's 3.
Here,
31 laps. You're looking good, BP. And here come the leaders to pit road. First set of stops on the day. Matt, you're first.
And the 87 car, Joe Nemechek, making his way to his pit stall. The biggest part of this pit stop will be the tape that they will pull off the front. Joe said the water temperature climbed to 235 to 240. The car's a little tight. No adjustments, Marty.
Jason Keller's a little tight behind Michael Waltrip when he's out on the track. They made a wedge adjustment half round. In front of him, Shane Mill will take 2 tires, a little bit tight. He says, I'm not pushing it at all. Dave?
Trouble for Michael Waltrip on the jack. He was only going to take 2 tires. The car was a little bit tight. He said, let's just change 2 tires and try that. But they had trouble on the right side. They were changing and had difficulty, and Michael loses a lot of track position.
So the jack was hung under the 99 car. I guess he tried to drive off, and someone has a tire rolling across pit road, and somebody makes it.
Hey, Matt, I'm surprised they didn't make a change in Joe Nemechek's car. If the car was tight and they took tape off the front and they didn't make an adjustment, I don't know how that's going to make it any better.
Well, Wally, he said it was much tighter at the beginning of the run, and it didn't get as bad near the end of that run before they pitted, but their bigger concern was that water temperature.
Okay.
So Michael Waltrip goes from the lead to 7th on the exchange of pit stops, and Shane Mill is going to take the top spot. Let's look again at what happened to Mikey's team here.
Looks like the car just rolled off the jack.
Yeah, because the jack's in there sideways.
Yeah.
Right now.
But the right rear tire changer is still working on the lug nuts. Dave, what happened to the jack?
The jack has been, a replacement has been called for, but now it looks like they may try to just replace the peg. That's the peg on it that the guys hang on to when they go around the car. So it got bent severely. They're going to try to move it back into position or call in the substitute jack.
You mean the handle that they hold on to?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that car rolling forward a little bit like that just was enough. And Michael Waltrip's got some ground to make up to recapture the lead here at Kansas City. Set to go back racing here at the Kansas Speedway in the Mr. Goodcents 300.
Green flag. Come on down, Max.
What was that?
Oh, slow restart.
And Hornaday picked up about 5 spots right there. Stay on your toes, Ron.
Mr. Restart.
Shane Mill, the leader of this, is not accustomed to leading these NASCAR Busch Series races. Not accustomed to restart. He brought him down very, very slow, which allowed Hornaday to get that running start on the outside.
All right, 2 tires on the 47 car. Got Shane Mill the lead. Stacy Compton got 2 tires. He took 2nd. Scott Rigton with 10. Got fuel only to get up to 3rd. Jeff Green also took fuel only. Oh, look out. Jack Sprague.
They're still crashing.
And Biffle was right behind it and got through.
Well, I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what he thinks happened.
That was, I think, Jason Sprague, Jack's brother, his spotter.
I don't know about that particular view. Here they come back to the caution flag. BP, you're over.
We're gaining on it.
We're gaining on it.
It's looking real good.
No, I said over-under was 6. I thought it'd be about 6. Wally's the guy that said over. And you're the guy that said under.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
You're not looking too good.
I'm in trouble. Well, there were only 5 cautions in this whole race last year. We've had 4 now, and we're only at lap 37. Go
You're
figure.
in big trouble.
Yeah, well, I was in trouble with Marty already. All right. Todd Bodine, problems there.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. It starts way over here. Sprague was down below the white line. They kind of moved up on each other. They went down. I don't know how Bodine wrecked them. They're running there side by side. It looks like Sprague lost the air off the spoiler, got loose, and actually wrecked into Todd.
And that was
What do you think, Benny?
Well, I think you're exactly right. He just got air off the spoiler. He didn't have that air to lean against, and around he went, talking about the 24-car Sprague, and that's Jason Pash, his brother. Boy, they were glued right together. Obviously, Todd Bodine is trying to stay as low as he possibly can because he knows if he gets too wide here, he's in trouble.
And when you get that close, when you get right rear to left rear like that, your car is going to get loose, especially if your guy on the bottom. Just no air in your spoiler. And that's what happened.
Gets ugly fast. So Sprague's got some problems. Todd Bodina's got problems. The yellow flag is out once again, and somehow the championship leader Greg Biffle misses another one back in traffic. He continues on in 11th place. Primetime top 25 college football on TBS tonight. The second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners taking on the South Florida Bulls. Big play Saturday, 7 Eastern on the Superstation. That's Casey Mears' car, painted up in Kansas Jayhawk colors.
Right.
Sponsored Phillips 66, a big supporter of the Big 12 Conference. Jason Keller with a big jump on the restart to the outside.
He said, I saw Hornaday do that the last time. Let me try it. Didn't work as well for him.
No, and here comes Mikey Waltrip going to venture up into that higher lane. How about it, Mikey? You going to make it stick?
I like it. But can he be in position when he gets to turn 3? Is Jason going to let him go? Yep.
So Michael Waltrip making up some of the ground lost on. Whoa!
Yeah, not so fast.
Hang on.
Sometimes you can't get it back down to the bottom when you get in there on the high line.
Okay, what we found out there is that 99 car's got some engine.
It's got the motor in it.
Careful, Mikey. Careful. That's Never Never Land up there.
He lost some momentum there.
Yes, he did.
So Keller 4th, Waltrip 5th, Hornaday's right behind him in 6th. Jeff Green 7th and Jeff Burton 8th, 21-9 you're looking at there. Scott Riggs in the 10. Using a little bit of that flat part of the racetrack. Now next week at Talladega you do that, you go below that line on the bottom, you're penalized for being out of bounds.
And some fans don't understand that. Why at all racetracks the line isn't out of bounds, but at this racetrack you're not going to upset or get into the other car like you would at Talladega.
Riggs to 2nd, Compton back to 3rd.
Uh-oh, another guy in the
Trouble
wall.
turn 3. Brian Vickers. Caution number 5 is out.
Well, the race sponsor, Mr. Goodcents, put their name on the hood of his car for this race, and unfortunately, we're seeing the side of his car. There's a lot of damage to that car. There it is. Thank you.
Well, they got some TV time, but
yes,
not the way they wanted. Brian Vickers, the 18-year-old high school graduate, last May actually, Memorial Weekend, from Thomasville, North Carolina. 15th start this season, and unfortunately that will be probably the 7th time he will not finish.
Probably.
Learning some hard lessons.
And as a favor to Kyle Petty, he came here with that Victory Junction gang on the quarter panel of his car, trying to bring some attention to it. Let's see what happened. There he is, trying to get on the inside of
Kenny Wallace. He was trying to get to the inside of it. It looked like maybe Hamilton Jr. and he touched.
Yeah. Yep, he goes down to the bottom. Yep, got turned.
Hold on.
Ooh, that's not the good way to hit either.
No.
Not that there's any really good way to hit, but that's the worst way.
Once again, there we see the contact between Hamilton Jr., the 25 car, and Brian Vickers.
And Brian's out of the car and walking away, and that's good.
Not real happy, of course.
No, I don't blame him.
No.
You figure you go into a corner, you stand a chance in an accident, but when you're on the straightaway, you kind of think things will be okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out that way.
Hey, Kenny, thanks for setting up this.
Tomorrow you can watch NASCAR in-car on In Demand. You get 5 in-car camera channels with virtual dashboards, real-time in-car data, and live team audio. If you got digital cable, call 1-888-SPORTS-IN. Order the half-season package, NASCAR in-car on In Demand. Still cleaning things up over in turns 3 and 4. Last couple of moments of caution as they bring Brian Vickers' car back to the garage area.
Let's try to talk to Michael Waltrip and see if Michael Waltrip, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Yeah, BP. I wondered how long before you came calling.
Well, how's that outside groove there, big boy?
Well, I think it'd be all right, but I'm a little bit too tight right now to get up there. So just kind of checking things out, taking 2 tires and seeing what that does, and looking on the outside, seeing what that does, gathering information so that we can make a run at them here at the end with our little Aaron's Dream Machine.
Shane's bringing him down for the restarts a little bit slow, isn't he, Mikey?
Yeah, he's new at this, so he's just doing what he thinks he's got to do, but it isn't working out for all of us back here. But I'm sure sitting up there, he's not concerned about us back here. Benny, did you know that Aaron's is making dreams come true for $99 a month?
Really? Where do I sign up? I guess he got his.
We want to go this time back.
I guess he got his commercial in, so he's all done.
What do you say, Dave?
Well, Alan, that radio interchange brought to you not only by Aaron's, but the fact that Mikey worked on his radio during this first run. He had problems. The crew could not hear him. They kept calling to him, and he could not respond. So he worked on it during one of the first cautions and got it to where he could communicate back to the crew and, of course, to BP.
You know, Michael was talking about the restarts. I was going to tell him if he had replied, look in your rearview mirror, because the king of restarts is right behind you. So you're going to have to do the restart with one eye on the mirror, the other eye on Jason Keller.
Ron Hornaday.
Hornaday.
Yeah, the king of restarts.
King of restarts.
And a well-earned reputation. He just, I don't know what it is. And, you know, when you ask him, he looks at you and smiles. But when it's time to go, he gets going faster than about everybody else.
Marty, what did they say to Shane Meal about the restarts?
Well, NASCAR has warned Shane not to lay back from the pace car. And if you'll notice, Shane's taking that a little bit literally. He is very close to the pace car right now. And he said, what do you want me to do? I've never done this before. So he didn't know what the protocol really was, to be honest. So they have warned him, stay close to the pace car, do not drop back. And kind of got in an animated conversation with his car owner, George Debadard, and that kind of went away. But Shane will stay very close to the pace car, and we'll have a much better restart. He promises this time.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, he's pretty close.
He's close to the pace car, but unfortunately the pace car is going to pull off. Now it's up to Shane Meal to bring him down at a reasonable speed. And the restart point is about right there. Hit it. Go.
Yeah. Green flag, green flag.
That's Hornaday and Michael. Oh, my. The cavalry charge is on. Waltrip makes the crossover move. Hornaday to the outside. Let's see if they all get through 1 and 2.
It's going to be a struggling. Oh, Jason Keller is back to about 6th or 7th.
Ron Hornaday to the lead.
Well, for a little bit anyway. That was a great restart, though. Problem is, he's up in that high groove.
Yeah, he's never land right now. Careful, Ronnie.
Riggs back into second. Here comes Michael Waltrip. Hornaday will slip to 4th. Short-lived glory. Here's Jeff Burton running 5th. Jason Keller got shuffled to 7th. There's Greg Biffle in the 60. He's in 10th now, so only a couple of positions between the top 2 in the championship.
Here comes Biffle on the inside of Stacy Compton. Battle for the lead. Scott Riggs at 10 car goes under Shane Meal. Michael Waltrip's going to take a look.
Remember that the 10 car took no tires on that last pit stop. Michael Waltrip and the 47 car, Shane Meal, took just 2. Scott Riggs picked up a couple of wins in the early part of the season, Nashville and California, but then really struggled in July and August. Only 2 top 10 finishes. Carl Wallen, that's Wimmer. 4 just brushed the wall. Anyway, checking out the numbers here. In the last 11 races, only 2 top 10 finishes. 3 in the last 13. It's been a tough summer for Scott Riggs.
He has struggled, as the graphic points out.
Talking to his crew chief Harold Holley this morning, he said, that's all right. This is a good race team. We haven't forgotten how to win. The kid's got his confidence still. He's a good race driver, and we won this race a year ago with Jeff Green. Okay, let's show people why you and I were going.
Okay. Right here, I was watching Jimmy Spencer. He's been coming up to the field great. Got in the back of Blockman a little bit. 23 had to check up. When he checked up, slid up the racetrack.
And he turned it right to avoid Jimmy Spencer. Watch as Spencer has to back off the throttle. Wimmer has to back off, and he turns to the right to avoid Spencer, and he's coming off the corner. He just basically just drove it up in the wall. I don't think he hit it too hard, but let's see. Oh, he did hit pretty hard.
Pretty hard, yeah. Right rear hit pretty hard.
Wimmer's falling back to 21st place now.
And Burton goes by the 47 car of Meal to move into third.
Marty Wimmer's just gained back a couple of those spots he just lost. He's back up to 20th now.
Yeah, and their thought was it might have been contact with Lyndon Amick that put them into the wall. That's what they were saying anyway, but it does not appear to have any tire damage or any tire rub, and the fenders rubbing on the tires. It's been a rough week for Scott, having won a race at Dover. He's been sick all week with a flu, and today is kind of the worst day of it, so he's not having a very good time out there. He had to turn on the AC of the car very early on, so he's having a rough day after hitting the wall and having the flu and all of those problems.
Jason Keller trying to pick up a spot to fourth. Working on Shane Meal. Keller in the 57, Meal in the 47.
It looks like it's going to be just a matter of about a straightaway. Keller will have that position.
And behind them,
hey, Jimmy Spencer's coming.
In a backup car.
Well, it came in the first couple of times, I think, adjusted on the car, but he's been picking them off.
Spencer the one. And yeah, Wally, he did stop on the caution at lap 13.
Get that yellow car going. I mean, he has passed 3 or 4 cars in the last couple laps.
And he also stopped on the caution at lap 32, so he's been in twice.
That's Kevin LePage in the 37 car. In front of Spencer. Those guys are back in 13th and 14th. Rick Spencer out on that high groove. Yeah, what a great run he got.
He's making it work.
And he's going to go right on by LePage. Big race for Spencer and his team that sponsor Yellow Freight based here in the Kansas City area. So a lot of people out here at the race watching them today. And you're always trying to make a good impression on your sponsor when it's time to sign up for next year. There's the scoring serial on Jimmy. Steadily forward.
How about it, Marty? What's Jimmy saying?
Well, he was tied early on, Wally. They didn't make that stop on lap 13. They were trying to play some fuel strategy. Obviously, that's probably gone out the window now for them. They'll have to play that later in the race. But the car was tight, and that's the only thing Spencer said, and that was on back lap 30 or so. So they are very good. And when Jimmy's not talking on the radio, that's good news.
So again, Spencer in 13th place. And up front, a little pressure on the second spot. Mikey Waltrip.
Got 3 9s there battling for second spot. And Mikey talked about his car being too tight. That car looked perfect in that first run, but the 2-tire change has not been kind to him. Watch as the car drifts up off that white line.
And that's all Burton's going to need. Although Mike's got a lot of motor, Jeff's got the position on the racetrack.
And remember, Burton took 4 tires on his stop, so
well, that'll help.
Maybe helping his handling a little bit where he versus Mike is concerned.
As I said, the 2-tire stop for Michael doesn't seem to be exactly what he needs. If he's going to try that at the end of the race, it looks like they're going to have to make some adjustment to go along with a 2-tire stop.
But they know that now versus at lap, 180 out of 200.
Boy, Michael comes off that corner, doesn't he?
As he gets on before.
He's handling down the straightaways real good.
And he's trying on the outside. Mikey, careful up there. I told you.
Yeah, you have to back out of it there.
Lost that grip.
All right, so Burton in second. Waltrip in third. Jason Keller runs fourth. Where's Greg Biffle?
and 7th, so he's worked his way through the field cleanly.
And he's trying to get 6th away from Ron Hornaday. AC Delco championship standings for the NASCAR Busch Series. 35 was the gap coming into the race, Dave.
Had a long conversation with his spotter during one of the cautions where Jack Sprague wrecked. He said, I saw that wreck. He asked his spotter if when cars are coming around the outside of him, if he would call them tight if they're closer than a foot. That's because he saw that Sprague got aero loose, and Greg didn't want the same thing to happen to him. So new conversations between the spotter and Greg will be if they're closer than a foot to call it their outside tight. Other than that, the car's a little bit tight on the chassis side, and they're going to make an adjustment when he comes in.
Okay. Interesting that Biffle wants that added information from the spotter.
Yeah, it's a good idea. This way you can try to drive down the track a little bit to get that space.
Let's go inside our TNT virtual garage and talk about aero loose. This is when someone drives up behind you. See, you've got your spoiler, you've got downforce on it. When this car pulls up, watch how that airflow moves up, and taking that off the rear spoiler, you lose the downforce and you go in the corner. You do not want to see somebody that close, because that's what's going to happen.
Here's Biffle working on Shane Mio, trying to get another spot. That'll be 5th place. So, from 19th on the grid up to 5th for Greg Biffle. He's maneuvered through all the early accidents and now gotten himself in position for a good day. Scott Riggs is out in front in the 10 car. He leads Jeff Burton, Michael Waltrip, Jason Keller, and now Greg Biffle. NASCAR on TNT is from the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Beautiful afternoon, 78,000 sold out today. Another 78,000 will be here tomorrow. Another sellout for the Winston Cup race. Today it's the Mr. Goodcents 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series. We are just past 100 miles of the race in our Old Navy track fact. The 4th richest NASCAR Busch Series race of the season. I can't believe you didn't pick this one to run in, Wally. You like the money.
Next year, this will be one of them.
I heard you say $1.2 million at the top of the show, and I said, wow, that's a fantastic purse for these guys.
73,000 and change for the winner today.
Tony Raines, the 33 car, moving into the 6th place, goes by Shane Meal.
Tony's hooked up too. He's running very well.
Started 25th in the race. He restarted 13th at lap 49 when we went green in this run, and he's picked his way up now to 6th. And you know, this team, VP, they've been kind of hot lately here. 5 top 10 finishes the last 8 races. Got a 5th at St. Louis, 9th at Indianapolis, 8th at Bristol, 9th at Darlington, 4th at Richmond. Their worst finish in that stretch was last week at Dover. They finished 11th.
Yeah, you're right. The car has been very, very good. Back behind, we see Ron Hornaday is falling back, and Kerry Earnhardt in the 12 car trying to get by.
Yep. Started 20th, did Kerry. He's put it up into the top 10. His best finish this season was a 7th at Kentucky. Tracked fairly similar to this, 1.5 mile, moderate banking, big speed, momentum track. So looks like they've got that thing working as well today as it did on that Saturday night.
Dave, what are you saying about Hornaday's car? Is Earnhardt's about to lose a spot?
Well, they've been working on the front end ever since they had damage on it early on, and they brought a new nose piece down to the pit, so they're having some trouble aerodynamically right now on that car. Matt?
Well, Dave, an update on the 12 car of Kerry Earnhardt. Started 20. He climbed up to 10. He says his car is great down in turns 1 and 2, but in turns 3 and 4, it's not so good. The car is tight on entry. He's going to try to change his line to help that car. His second best finish this season in 8th and Nashville came in this race car, and like you guys in the booth mentioned, similar racetracks hoping for a similar finish.
We saw Kerry Earnhardt did not want to go in the first turn on the outside of Nemechek, and I don't blame him a bit. He backed off, but then Compton was right there. And Jeff Green is there as well. Is that Jeff Green?
No, it's Mears.
Casey
yeah. Mears.
It's mentioned Todd Bodine has just come back onto the racetrack from in the garage. 36 laps down after repairs. Remember, he and Jack Sprague had the little incident at lap 38. Sprague continued in the race right from that point. He's running in 28th place on the lead lap. Good lap on Ricky Hendrick.
It looks like the 77 car of Eric Jones as well. Both those cars involved in some crashes, not up to top speed.
Longest we've run under the green flag so far today, this little stretch of the race. We've almost gotten 30 laps in here under the green. Drivers are now starting to find out something about their race cars.
Yep, this is the longest run they've had. So how many laps before they pit, Alan?
Stopped at 32. So it's only going to be another 20.
About 25 laps, 20 to 25 laps. What do you think, Marty? How long do you think it's going to be before they pit?
About lap 100, BP. That's what most teams are talking about. 25 laps from now.
All right. On green flag, if they have to put 2 cans of fuel, they might plan on changing 4 tires.
That'd be 23, Marty, but I don't want to rub it in.
I said about, Wally.
He already had enough rubbed in.
Yeah, had plenty rubbed in today.
His hair, his eyes.
Pretty good battle there we got going between Earnhardt and Stacy Compton, Casey Mears. Mike McLaughlin, the 18 car, had such a terrific run last week at Dover.
I talked to Mike this morning, and he said we're not as good as we were at Dover. We're okay, not as good. Dover, he was leading by this point in the race, so around this point today, he's just kind of mid-pack in 14th spot. Up front, Scott Riggs leading Jeff Burton by 1 second even. Michael Waltrip is in third. The top 2 in the championship, Jason Keller and Greg Biffle, run 4th and 5th. Long green flag run in the midpoint of the NASCAR Busch Series race at Kansas Speedway today. Live coverage on TNT. Tomorrow, the chase for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship continues. Coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern over on NBC. Scott Riggs is your leader, driving for the team that won this race a year ago. But if the bright yellow car looks in his rearview mirror, he's going to see a green one closing on him pretty quick. Let's go through the field. Here's Marty.
Alan Scott has found the magic cure for the aero push. It's called take no tires on your pit stop. The run before this, Scott, was tight, tight, tight. And they took no tires on this last stop. He's out front, and the car is set and sail. Dave?
Marty, the 9 car of Jeff Burton, he's complaining just a little bit that he's loose in and tight in the middle. They plan to put the air up in the left rear when he comes in for a pit stop. Michael Waltrip took on 2 tires on that last pit stop, and that tightened the car up more than it was before, according to crew chief Bobby Kennedy. Marty?
Jason Keller is in the 4th position, Dave. He trails Greg Biffle in the championship race by 35 points. Out on the racetrack, he's singing that aero tight thing. He's tight behind other cars, and when he can get some free air, he says the car is pretty good. We don't need to adjust too much, Dave.
Biffle's car is a little bit loose going into the corners, a little bit tight everywhere else. He did radio into his crew some encouraging news to the people up front. Tell them I'm coming. Matt?
Dave, Tony Raines was running in the top 5 with about 40 laps to go last week, and then the track bar bolt started backing itself out. He faded to 11th. They're hoping to bounce back and have a great run going here so far, running in the 6th position. Had a vibration earlier. It was a loose wheel. No adjustments of late. Dave?
Speaking of bouncing back, the 21 car of Jeff Green involved in a spin earlier on. The car is just a little bit tight right now. They hope they can make an adjustment on it at the next pit stop. Matt?
His last 3 Busch starts for Joe Nemechek, a 1st, a 4th, and 11th. He's currently running in the 8th position. Joe says the car is good when it's by itself, but when it gets into traffic or gets near at least one other car, it goes to the tight side. Aero push, Marty.
Matt Shane Mills having a nice run. He's up in the 9th position, of course, leading the race a little bit earlier. That 2-tire stop last time made the car very tight. This time, his crew chief said, hold on to what you got, buddy. We're going to help you out with a pit stop here in a minute, but they will not take 2 tires this time, Matt.
Kerry Earnhardt working on his 3rd top 10 finish this season, still working on his line, trying to fix that tightness. He says it has gotten a little bit better, but he's still searching. And also searching for his 1st top 10 in his 1st start here at Kansas, Alan.
Stories on the top 10 just behind them. You've got Ron Hornaday, Stacy Compton, Casey Mears, Mike McLaughlin, and Scott Wimmer rounding out your top 15. And they're all in a big old pile racing for that spot.
Yeah, Compton and Mears been side by side for the last 3 or 4 laps.
And they're able to keep up with the 26 car. Casey,
ooh,
careful.
there you go. There, I was just going to say, that's where you get loose. In case he got loose.
If you watched him when he went into turn number 3, you saw his left side tires go below that white line. He just touched the flat part of the racetrack, and that sent him.
I know. The arrow loose is what sent him up the racetrack.
Yeah, he was real close to the car of Compton and lost the air on the spoiler.
He drove it in there. We saw him go in the corner and really drive it in there, and I said, uh-oh. I've seen that movie many times. I've started it a few times, and here's Compton trying to go by Hornaday on the outside.
They pull it off.
Dave, how about Stacy Compton?
Well, the crew tells me he's just a little bit tight. They made him make a little wedge adjustment. The problem is, though, that he's running a little bit hot when he's in traffic, so they talked about removing some tape, but that's going to take away a little of the downforce and probably make him tighter yet. So they've got a little bit of decision-making to do on the 59 before the next round of pit stops.
Hornaday is the 26 car, is the car that's really struggling right now. These cars to be able to pass him on the outside.
And Wimmer goes by Hornaday to pick up 13th place. Up front, leads tightening up. Jeff Burton flows it in on Scott Riggs as they try to put Kenny Wallace a lap down. Kenny's in the 28th place. All right, we're coming up on green flag pit stop, so let's take a break, come back, and get you set for the leaders' visits to pit road. Riggs and Burton are leading. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Nothing's changed up front. Scott Riggs and Jeff Burton, the top two here at Kansas on TNT. Coming up on halfway through the race, we've got 94, about to be 95 laps complete when they come around. 200 is the lap distance here in Kansas today.
And talking to the drivers, this is about the space that you start picking up that arrow push. Air off the other car, it comes back, hits your car, and all of a sudden you lose the downforce on the front of yours. That's one reason that Jeff Burton now is moving up the racetrack a little bit, trying to get some air on the front of his car so it'll turn better, and hopefully on the outside he can get a run down the straightaway and get on the inside of get position on Scott Riggs.
Riggs took the lead at lap 50, just after the last set of leaders pit stops. So on this set of green flag stops, we should see, because they made a full fuel run, we should see everybody take 4 tires and set themselves up for the strategy smorgasbord there at the end of the race. Because if the race stays green, then the last stops will come maybe around 30 laps to go, and then we'll see a lot of 2 tires and no tires.
Exactly, 1 can of fuel. And Jeff Burton still running that high line and is making some good progress. Because when he moves up there, once again, he starts getting some air on the nose of his car. Behind the 10, he can't get all that proper air to make the car handle the way that he wants it.
Jeff Burton learning so much about this racetrack also for tomorrow. Running this higher lane now, he's finding out, and he's going to know what can happen in tomorrow's Winston Cup race when he gets going.
And so will everybody that's watching the race.
You know, all at home lot. Is there no more bonus to the experience of actually being behind the wheel and feeling the car and what it's doing than just watching? Don't think so?
Well, some maybe.
Yeah, some. But I mean, you're basically wanting to see where you can run and where you can't run. A couple drivers are watching this race and saying, okay, you know, obviously you can run high and do exactly what Jeff Burton's doing. I mean, there's no question it helps, you know, racing on Saturday, but I think he's also showing everybody that's going to be in the race tomorrow what you can do.
Pit stops have started, Dave.
Really good news for Jeff Green, the fact that he doesn't want any changes on the car. This after spinning early, having to correct some damage on the car and making adjustments just during that pit stop. He'll be back out without any changes to the car now.
Like they had some trouble there on that left front. Halfway when they come to the line this time for Scott Riggs. And more pit stops. As cars start to drift onto the pit lane off of turn 4. Marty?
Well, Alan, it will not be a second straight win for Scott Wimmer. He is down on 7 cylinders. He changed ignition boxes. They're going to ride it out as long as they can. Nothing has worked. They are indeed on 7 cylinders in the 23 car. Dave?
Marty involved in an early caution. Ron Hornaday pitted on lap 15. He's been out of tires for a number of laps, and that's why he was going backwards, in addition to some aero issues with the front of the car. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment now to fix a little bit of a tight condition for Ron. Marty?
Shane Mill comes down pit road. The car is very tight after that 2-tire stop. He creeps down pit road into the 9th position. He hung on to it as long as he could. They will make a chassis adjustment. It will be an air pressure adjustment, a pound out of the right front tire for Shane Mill. The car got too tight at the end of that run.
Oh, leader gets taken up the racetrack in some lap traffic. Jeff Burton goes by Scott Riggs.
Riggs trying to put a lap on the 27 of Jamie McMurray, and you're right. He goes up the racetrack, gets on the outside, and Jeff Burton dives to the inside, takes the lead.
First time today, Jeff Burton has led just now when he crossed the stripe. More pit stops, Matt.
And Alan, they dropped the jack in the 87 car, Joe Nemechek. The only adjustment for Joe, an air pressure adjustment, because remember, we told you earlier, he was a little bit tight when he got in traffic.
Stacy Compton, Randy LaJoy also on and now off the pit road. Dave?
Compton got that wedge adjustment, Alan. He needed slow on the left front. Lug nuts coming off. The tire changer has to put him back on manually, and now Stacy leaves.
All right, here they go. Both leaders coming down pit road. Jeff Burton, Scott Riggs follows. It's all up to the pit crews. Who will get them out first? Marty, coming to you first.
Well, Scott Riggs hit all at once. 4 tires lead the chassis alone. He may have lost the lead on the racetrack, but he's very confident about this chassis. So it'll be 4 tires and fuel only for Scott Riggs. Dave?
Jeff Burton is in now. They will go for 4 tires as well. He needs them. Jeff also complaining about a little bit tight in the center of the corner. They make an air pressure adjustment to accommodate that. The 2 left side tires are on for Burton. He leaves pit road, and he will beat the 10 car of Scott Riggs off pit road.
That's a tough way to pit a car there, BP.
Tough way to pit a car.
Unorthodox.
Sideways.
Parking, yeah. But he was within the box.
But that probably cost him on the pit stop because the pit crew has to adjust when you come in that way and threw him off a little bit. I'll tell you, Jeff Burton's crew did a good job on their pit stop.
Michael Waltrip had taken over the lead when Burton and Riggs pitted. Now here comes Mikey off the track. Jason Keller right behind him.
It's too bad that Jason Keller couldn't run another lap and get to 5 bonus points.
Yeah, must have been at the end of his fuel limit, though, because he came in.
Biffle will lead the lap.
Yep, Biffle's going to go to the front, and he's going to get bonus points here. Marty?
Yeah, I think they wanted to take a chance at one more lap, but Steve Addington told me this morning we need to get a really good fuel gauge as to how far we can go on that first long fuel run. It is tight for Jason Keller right now. They do make a wedge adjustment and 4 tires. And the car falls off the jack before it was supposed to. Long time on the left rear. The left side tires were not on, and the jack fell. Dave?
Michael Waltrip took on 2 tires last time. This time, 4 tires. The adjustment they choose to loosen the car up, a wedge adjustment for the 99.
Now here comes Biffle to you, Dave.
Yep, Biffle coming in now. Remember, he said his car was very, very good, although a little bit tight in the middle, a little bit loose everywhere else. I'm sorry, a little bit loose getting in, a little bit tight everywhere else. So the crew is going to go and give him 4 tires. They were talking about putting a rubber in the left rear to tighten it up. I don't think they're going to take the time during green flag pit stops. That's a lengthy adjustment. We'll see what happens now as they go to the left side, put the tires on, and then send Biffle back out, points leader, back on the track. Matt?
And that 33 car, Tony Raines, is in. Remember we told you earlier the vibration? Well, they haven't seen it since, and the car has been very good. No adjustments. This stop, none on the last stop. Just 4 tires and fuel. Looking for his first win, hoping to make it the 6th first-time winner in 2002. And service complete on the 33.
They look like they're putting scuff tires on.
Yeah, they are.
These cars.
I'm sure they are, because these drivers tell me those first 3 or 4 laps on sticker tires are really a handful.
And on Jason Keller's pit stop, it looked like when they took the left front wheel off, they threw it over and it hit the jack, and that's what knocked the car off the track.
That's exactly what happened, Wally. Here it is.
Here you go. You watch when he pulls the left front wheel off. throws it over, hits the jack, and the jack falls down. So maybe it twisted the handle.
Just a little bit. That's how you let the car down, by twisting that handle. When the tire hit it, it somehow twisted it, and down it went. And it cost him probably 300 or 400 yards of position on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Scott Riggs in the 10 car is being called back to pit road.
Oh, really?
They had a right side tire violation. The rule is that the tires that you take off the right side of the car have to be on the inner half of the pit box.
They say it's a mistake, but they don't throw the flag at you. Just keep digging.
And Harold has said, just keep going.
Well,
explain that now, Alan.
If you take and you look at the pit box, the right side tires have to be on the inside half of the box when the car leaves. You can't leave a tire out there.
Yes. Oh, okay.
They had a tire out there, and I believe they're arguing that perhaps that tire got hit by another car, which is what put it out there. But NASCAR says they disagree with that, and they are calling him in, and they've been calling him in for about 4 laps.
What the hell they're bringing us in for, Charles?
And if he doesn't pit next time, his car's going to be stopped being scored. So, there you go.
Well, here he comes.
Oh, that kills those guys.
That's too bad. Now, don't speed. Don't compound your problems.
And you know they're watching.
This is just real frustrating.
Harold Hawley, the crew chief, not happy.
No, he's not. That's such a good race car. Marty?
Well, as you can imagine, a very animated conversation between Harold Hawley and the NASCAR officials. He showed them the videotape, which showed the tire getting away, and what the proof they thought they needed to not get the penalty, but that was not enough, and Harold is extremely upset. There were 3 NASCAR officials down here trying to justify the penalty, and the conversation continues as Harold walks to the back of the pit box now, trying to cool off a little bit. Disappointing for these guys. They had a car that clearly could have won the race, and now it's going to be very difficult to do that.
All right, let's see. There's the tire.
There it goes.
There we see it. And there's not another car involved.
Oh, there it is. See, when the car left the pit box, one of the tires got away.
Another tire. Man.
So it was the second of the 2 tires. They got the first one before the car left, but then the other one rolled away.
That's the right call.
So let's see where that leaves Scott Riggs. A lap down in 20th place. And they're still discussing it. Buzz Bergdorf there, one of the tire changers. Obviously, he's not happy also. And now Harold Hawley, the crew chief, is going to step in. It looks like a football coach on the sideline. You know, if I was going to be a football referee, the one job I wouldn't want would be that side judge who has to stand in front of the bench.
If there was dirt, he could be kicking dirt on those guys.
All right, the cycle of pit stops will be completed once Jamie McMurray stops. He's now the leader. Then Jeff Burton will go out next. And here comes Bobby Hamilton Jr., Dave.
His car is tight, Alan. Remember, he got in 2 different wrecks early on, hurt the left side, and then coming to a caution, he put a hole in the right front. They have maintained their composure. They're putting some wedge in the car now to correct the tight condition for Bobby.
And away he goes. So the race lead now is back in the hands of Jeff Burton. Burton leads. For now, McMurray is still second. He hasn't stopped yet. Burton just passed him on the racetrack. Then it'll go to Michael Waltrip, who'll be second. Jason Keller will come out third. Jeff Green fourth. Greg Biffle fifth. So there's a car between Keller and Biffle now. Then you're going to have Joe Nemechek, Tony Raines, Lyndon Amick, Shane Meal, and Jimmy Spencer will fill out the top 10 once Jamie McMurray stops. All right, let's go back and look at this pit stop again and show you what happened.
All right, they're rolling this tire back. He's getting this tire back, but this is a tire that's outside the box.
And now, what the rule is, if we can freeze that right there, what the rule is that all the equipment has to be on the pit wall half of the box when the car leaves the pit stall. That tire is out.
It was a good call.
Harold doesn't like it.
No, Harold, well, obviously he doesn't like it.
But upon further review, the call on the field stands.
Mark Green in the 38 car going a lap down to Burton.
Long green flag run here. We've been under the green since lap 48. We're at 117 now.
And there you see Scott Riggs, which is one lap down right behind Jeff Burton.
Yep. 18th place there in the yellow car.
And he's a little hot right now. So if I was those boys, if they just knew how hot he was, they'd be getting out of the way. Talking about Joe Buford in 49 and Tom Bodine in 92.
Now the question becomes, if he stays close enough to Jeff Burton and the caution comes out, does Burton race him hard back around, or does Burton let him get his lap back?
Good question.
That's a Ford. Burton drives a Ford.
You don't give a guy that can beat you a lap back.
Well, you shouldn't. I agree that you shouldn't. But Burton, the fact that Scott Riggs is a NASCAR Busch Series regular might cut him some slack. If it's a Western Cup driver, I doubt if he would.
We'll see if the caution comes out. VP, you got your 5 cautions really quick, but we're still under. You're under over number 6. Burton leads Jamie McMurray by almost 4 seconds past halfway at Kansas. Just file this one away as a long shot. Jamie McMurray just made his pit stop.
And he had run about 77 laps, and he's got 77 to go. So he's made his last pit stop, and all the other drivers going to have to stop once again, although I think he's too far behind the leaders to make it work for him. But
maybe not.
Maybe not. We'll see.
I mean, he was running third when he pitted, and he was only about 4 seconds behind Jeff Burton, so we'll see. That's if the race goes caution-free from here to the finish. There is the race leader, Jeff Burton, with 76 laps to go. Burton, one of 11 different drivers who paced this event so far, and let's catch up on how things have unfolded in the Mr. Goodcents 300. Marty Snyder gets the pre-race Pie in the Face award. Talking with second place man Jason Keller in the championship. The ugliness started early. 5 caution flags, all coming in the first 44 laps. That was Christian Fittipaldi crashing. Same incident, Eric Jones got turned around, and then same incident farther up the racetrack. Jeff Green got bumped by Hamilton Jr. and went for a flying, 360, 720, one of those numbers. But he has continued on. Got racing for a couple of more laps. Ricky Hendrick had some trouble up in turn 4. He popped the outside wall. That was caution number 2. Racing back to the yellow flag, separate incident, same time. Jeff Burton and Ron Hornaday tangle. Hornaday goes for a spin and continues. Lap 32, turn 4. Casey King got into the back of Ron Young. Put him into the outside wall. Steve Grissom also damaged in the accident on the pit stops. When all the leaders came in under that yellow, tire got away from Hamilton Jr.'s car. He had to go to the back of the line for the penalty. And we raced a few more laps and more trouble. Jack Sprague and Todd Bodine tangled. Racing for a spot up in turn number 2. Bodine went behind the wall for a number of laps for repairs. 36 laps to be specific. He's back and continued. Jack Sprague continued after brief repairs on pit road. This is Brian Vickers. Hard crash, turn 3. He and Hamilton Jr. tangled on the backstretch. And that sent Vickers into the outside wall. That was the 5th caution, all in the first 44 laps of the race. Since then, we have been under the green flag all the way. Leaders today, Scott Riggs led 52 laps. Michael Waltrip 27. Shane Neal 16. Jeff Burton now out in front for 16 laps. And those are the drivers who've spent most of the time pacing this 300-mile race. Check the storylines that we've been following throughout the day for you as well.
We talked about caution flags, and I had the over-under at 6, and so far it's under, and thank goodness for that. I hope it continues. In the groove, will the track go wider? Michael Waltrip, Wally, is trying to make it go wider.
Yeah, he needs that upper groove for tomorrow, so he's doing his best to make it wider. And I think it is. It has gotten wider.
And Keller and Biffle running back-to-back on the racetrack in 3rd and 4th places, and there's a call on the wall. Caution's out. Joe Buford in the 49.
Well, that's what Jamie McMurray did not want to see, because most of the cars, I think, can make it from here the rest of the way.
Antioch, Tennessee driver Joe Buford, longtime championship contender at the Nashville Speedway.
Now here comes Hornaday trying to get his lap back, and Riggs, but Hornaday may get it.
Will Riggs? No.
And I don't believe Mark Green made it, though they're going to check the photo finish camera to see if he got his lap back or not. All right, so 70 laps to go. You think we'll see everybody come in and top off the fuel here?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Unless they just positively cannot make it.
Yeah, if you can make it, you've got to come in.
Yeah.
That was the winning strategy last year. We had a caution at the same time in last year's race. Jeff Green took fuel. Then when there was a caution with about 29 laps to go, some of the other front runners at the time, like Jason Keller last year, pitted, and Green stayed out, got the track position, and won the race.
Well, we saw Scott Riggs telling everybody that tires can go a long ways here, so I think they'll just come in for fuel.
Let's see if we can see what that might have happened to Joe Buford. There he is on the bottom, and
he had a tire going down or something. No.
He got his angle wrong going in the corner. He moved over so low to let Jason Keller go by. He couldn't make it the corner. He had to make such an awkward turn into the corner. Plus the apron didn't help him at all.
Yeah, the apron didn't help.
And if you watch Biffle right behind another one, scooted through on the bottom. That's 2 today.
All right, here they come. Looks like all the cars on the lead lap, Matt.
And Benny, the strategy for the 87 is simple. They're going to take on 2 tires, and Kevin Grubb, the gas man, not the driver, is going to put 1 can in. They're going to make a track bar adjustment. To Marty.
Third place, Jason Keller debated on no tires, Matt. They decided to go with a 4-tire stop for Jason Keller. The car was a little tight. They took out 1 round of wedge. Dave.
Jeff Burton's 11th NASCAR Busch Series race of the year has been a good one. The car still a little bit tight in the middle. A round of wedge out of the left rear. A pound of air in the left front. Burton slides getting out. He's going to get beat off pit road.
Jason Keller had a good pit stop.
Yep.
And Biffle's car is on pit road and not rolling. Has he broken a gear or something on Dave? What's going on?
What's the matter, bud?
He had trouble getting around the 26 car. They backed him up, and then he started to go around, and that's when the car stopped functioning.
Oh, boy.
I wonder if he snapped an axle.
We give you a push in 1 gear, get you going.
You're going to have to pull him back. Now, there he goes.
Finally gets your car. Man, that was... But look at all the track position he loses. 17 cars on the lead lap. He will be 16 cars.
He was 4th. Okay, here's the camera at the scoring line at the exit of pit road.
Ooh, that is close. Nemechek.
Yep. Nemechek and Jeff Green. So the 21 must have gotten 2 tires also. We'll double check that for positive confirmation. Scare for Greg Biffle, but he's got it going again here in Kansas. The Kansas Speedway, Kansas City, Kansas, and the Mr. Goodcents 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series, live on TNT. Sold out 78,000 today on a beautiful 80-degree day. I'll bet there'll be a full house in Norman, Oklahoma on TBS tonight for Big Play Saturday. It's the #2 Oklahoma Sooners and the South Florida Bulls on the Superstation, 7 Eastern tonight.
Here's Casey Mears. We see the sponsorship this week. Kansas Jayhawks.
You want me to say it?
What?
As we learned, upsets happen.
Yeah, they do.
Florida State.
Yeah, I know.
Took a beating from Louisville.
That was Thursday night. That's old news.
Oh, is it now? How come you have paper clippings in front of you on in the booth here?
Because I have cruel coworkers who bring things around like that to torment me. And you wonder what my motivation. Never mind. I was say my motivation for giving people pies in the face and things like that. You know.
You don't need to be motivated to do that.
This is true. 66 laps to go. Still cleaning up here in Kansas. Let's take another break. Joe Nemechek is the leader. The race for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship continues tomorrow on NBC at 12:30 Eastern Time as Sprint presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Kansas. We start with Discover Card Countdown to Green. The closest championship race in the history of the current Winston Cup system since 1975. And we do it again tomorrow starting at 12:30 Eastern.
These cars trying to get lined up for a restart.
And there's some confusion.
Some confusion as always.
How about this? Season high number of different race leaders in today's race. 13 different guys out front. Previous high was 11 at Las Vegas back in March. Okay, guys who did not take tires, or only got 2. Nemechek got 2. He leads. Jeff Green got 2. He's second. Kerry Earnhardt, fuel only. He's third. Michael Waltrip is in 4th. He's the first one of the 4 tire guys, followed by Jason Keller. Jeff Burton, the previous leaders, back in 6th. Then Tony Raines, Casey Mears, Stacy Compton, and Shane Meal. Greg Biffle lines up 11th.
Yeah, McMurray did do what I was talking to you under the caution there. I believe he stayed out. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. Am I right?
McMurray?
Yeah.
Yep. You would be
Because
correct.
he's the first car out there right now. So.
Yes.
Wondering why somebody wouldn't have done that.
Now he needs a caution to come back around through the field. Let's mention that Scott Riggs, we've been documenting some of his issues, made several pit stops under the caution. Team thinks they have a spark plug going bad, so he's lost quite a bit of track position. He's back in 30th place. Jamie McMurray's got problems. Jumping the restart. Black flag.
That's almost funny. I hope we can show that again. I'd like to see that myself.
Whoa, Raines. Tony Raines gets loose and moves up the racetrack. Here's Jeff Burt trying to work his way through traffic. 46 cars, Ashton Lewis. Oh, got a spin.
Hang on, Shane Meal.
Easy.
Well,
Back it down, back it down. Come on around. Nice job. Come on around.
Good save, Shane Neal.
not as good for Casey Mears. 66.
Okay, now I'll come in and take that penalty.
Yeah, we'll get 27 car. Come on in, Jamie. Take that penalty.
Here come drivers trying to get a lap back. Johnny Sauter goes by Joe Nemechek. That'll put Sauter on the lead lap in Richard Childress's 2 car.
Not give up. Run hard as you can.
Who else is steaming?
Hamilton Jr. gets a lap back.
Yeah, that'll put him on the lead lap also.
And Jeff Green, the 21 car, was racing those guys back. They ever see the 27 car? That's telling him that he has been black flag. His hits
posted. All right, let's take a look at this restart.
Okay, the restart. He's on the outside.
Okay, he may have jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it.
Because the restart is supposed to be about where the grass starts. We can't see that from that shot.
A little bit early.
What's the saying for KU? Matt?
Well, Alan, Jimmy Murray just said on his radio to his crew, he said, I couldn't see the red line, so I got scared. Randy Howe, who's Joe Nemechek's crew chief, was calling him down, said, stand by, stand by. Well, that was a little quick, wasn't it?
Oh, it still worked out for him.
Yeah.
Because he's back on the lead lap.
Okay, now he's going to get to pit road. Service stop and go penalty.
Oh, Shane Mill just gets loose and has to go up the racetrack to try to save it. When he does, he gets into the 66 car. And it looks like that Casey was okay till he hit the throttle.
Yeah.
And there's so much sand and debris up there. As soon as he hits the throttle to continue going straight, the car spun out.
Little different view on Rock Chalk Jayhawk there. Ooh.
And Shane never did go around, did he?
No, he didn't.
He made a very nice save.
On board with Shane Mill. Listen to this.
Still out there. Got one slow up out here. Outside. Outside, outside. Back it down, back it down. Come on around. Nice job. Come on around. Come on around. Nice job.
So we're under caution for the 7th time. We're now over BP here at Kansas.
I win.
Okay, cars are all getting lined up once again for a restart. Marty, you have Casey Mears down there?
I do, BP. There we go. And a lot of damage on the left side. Casey, he had a great run going. What happened?
Yeah, it's probably second best run we've had all year. Second time the 47s took us out, and you know, I apologize if our radio was scanned because I said some words that weren't all that good, but just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what the guy's thinking. It's just too bad. I mean, here we come for a special weekend. Very happy to have the KU school on the car, and happy to hold their name up proud. I think we had a good run going. Guys have just worked hard all season. Dodge has done a good job trying to help us out as much as they can. And we just keep getting bit left and right. And it's 2 races now almost in a row that the 47s took us out. NASCAR's got to do something because somebody else is going to if they don't.
They had a run-in together at Richmond, and they broke an axle. That's actually why they're behind the wall. The damage is not too bad, but they do have a broken axle as we get ready to go green.
Joe Nemechek, the race leader. Jeff Green, second. Kerry Earnhardt, third.
Green flag, green.
Michael Waltrip, fourth. Jason Keller, fifth. And Jeff Burton, sixth. Greg Biffle's up to eighth. He picked up 3 spots in that last short burst of racing.
Three abreast over there. And caution flags, folks. Breed caution flags. When these cars get all jammed up like they are now, you're liable to see more of them.
There's Biffle in the 60.
Bill Blackburn following the 9 of Jim Burton.
Picked up another spot that lap. He's up to 7th, up by Stacy Compton. Seven-car Randy LaJoy was up in the front runners earlier. But caught a lap down. He's back in 21st place.
And Burton's got a run on Randy LaJoy. And Randy's going to give him some room, I think.
Michael Waltrip, 99 car.
Going by Jason Keller. I'll tell you what, that might have been a pass for the win. I don't know if they can catch Green and Nemechek or not because of the aero push they're going to pick up. But I figure that Jason Keller, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton, Biffle all be contenders for the victory.
Kevin LePage there in the frame in that 37 car. He's also a lap down. First car 1 lap down in 19th place. Jeff Green and Kerry Earnhardt, 21 and 12, racing for second. Here comes Michael Waltrip to join the party.
Hey, what's wrong with this 21 car?
Well, we're going to ask Butch Hilton. Butch, what about taking 2 tires? It was obviously for track position. Good move, you think?
Well, we'll see. Been too tight all day with the Rockwell Automation Chevy. Figured we'd try to get a little clean air and see if that would help. He's doing a good job with a tight car. We just need a little help here, and I thought maybe I could try to help him with some track position.
Well, and like you said, track position does mean clean air for Jeff.
Well, here comes Michael Waltrip. He's been able to get by Kerry Earnhardt in the 12 car. Posing it right on the back of the 21.
Go more trouble. Oh.
Wally, just a side by side.
Yeah, that was side by side, all right.
Jeff Green with 11 top 5 finishes in 16 races this year in that 21 car. Picked up victories at Bristol and Charlotte this spring. Michael Waltrip, winner at Michigan in August. His last 3 starts in that 99 car. The win at Michigan, a 7th at Bristol, and an 8th at Richmond.
Kerry Earnhardt in that 12 car is hanging right with these guys.
Yeah.
Might be his best run of the year. Oh, we got Casey Kane spinning off turn 4.
Caution's out. Robert Yates' 98 car has found itself in need of a new back end. Is that a shock absorber came out of it, laying on the track there?
Here comes Kevin LePage trying to get a lap back for the leaders, and yep, he will.
Ashton Lewis trying there on the apron. He won't. So, caution flag once again, number 8. And here's the cause. Should have gone with the over. Oh, little help.
I don't think so. He just gets the car loose coming off turn 4. And he does that, they call a hospital wobble, back and forth, finally can't keep up with it. And around he goes, backs around the wall, and then the pieces start flying out from under it. Oh, he did have some help.
So there's a bit of a hole in the left bumper. There's something gave him that hole.
So Casey Kane will limp back around to the pit area, try to get some repairs made on that car. 50 laps to go here in Kansas City. NASCAR on TNT from the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. The Mr. Goodcents 300 under caution once again for the 8th time. Now, BP.
What? Yeah, when I get excited, it's more than just side-by-side racing.
Really? What? It looked like side-by-side to me.
Yeah, it was his bumper to somebody's side of the door. Shane Meal.
Oh, the 47?
So this is what you were oohing and on about?
Yeah, that was worth oohing and on.
Oh. That was pretty close. That's a good job by Shane Meal.
That's 2.
He saved it a few times today.
He's crashed twice and just hasn't hit anything. All right, they're still cleaning up. Shane continues on in the 47 car on the lead lap in 14th place. He'll have worked out pretty well by the end of the day. Just finished making some fine adjustments to Casey Kane's car, and he rejoins the chase here at the Kansas Speedway.
They have those fine adjustment tools that we like to use in this instance.
Big hammers. Oh, big orange hammers.
No, that's not a big hammer.
Yeah,
Wait,
those are just little hammers.
Hammer. Let's bring out the real adjuster here in a second.
All right.
All right, get the spoiler back in position. Get the quarter panels hammered out. And now.
That's a hammer.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, after watching you during happy hour earlier, you probably couldn't lift that hammer up right about now.
You are probably right. Too much tungsten pumping for me. Unfortunately for Ron Hornaday, he pulled his car down on pit road. Ron, they lifted the hood. Nothing. What happened?
Awesome day. This is probably the best mile-and-a-half track this Dr. Pepper team built. I got to thank Todd Losey and all the crew. You know, we were loose, and the 9 car got into us. He probably didn't mean to. And he repaid us by giving us our lap back. So we got the balance right, and we were pretty good right then, and just come off the corner, the motor died. So I got to thank everybody to give me this opportunity. I didn't have a job starting this year, and everybody from Dave Carroll and Dr. Pepper and Air Jamaica Vacations, you name it, I'm out here having fun again.
He's made it exciting this year, guys, for sure.
Hornaday joining Larry Gunselman, Steve Grissom, Ricky Hendrick, Brian Vickers, Ron Young, Mike Harmon, Chad Chaffin, and Christian Fittipaldi, all behind the wall and out of the race. Pretty heavy attrition here today at Kansas City.
All right, cars all lined up once again, 2 by 2 for a restart.
Nemechek, Jeff Green, Michael Waltrip, Kerry Earnhardt, Jason Keller, Jeff Burton, and Greg Biffle, the top 7.
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Oh, Michael down to the bottom of the racetrack quickly. Serious difference on himself and Kerry Earnhardt. Here comes Jason Keller trying to get on the inside of Earnhardt.
Farther back, Tony Raines in the 33, Jimmy Spencer in the 1. That's 8th place. Working their way to the outside of the Mark Green car. 38 cars a lap down. 21st place for Mark.
Oh, Michael Waltrip spins, backs on the wall hard up in 3.
3rd place car.
Hold the brake, hold the brake.
Oh, right back into traffic. And everybody's going to get around. Hard crash.
And one of that car snapped around so quickly.
Okay, Michael.
sure did.
Well, he lets the window net down. He has not replied to his crew.
So Michael Waltrip, a potential winner.
I can see him moving around in there.
That's Bobby Kennedy, the crew chief.
So the Aaron's Dream Machine has become a nightmare.
Yeah. Knocked him back in the Napa car. That's how hard he hit.
Wow. Boy, look at the back end of that car.
Hit. That's rear window deep almost. Michael, you don't want to see that. Don't come back and look at this. You won't like it. Let's look at the right rear tire, seeing what might have happened to it. Here he goes in the corner right behind the 21 car, and all of a sudden the car just snaps around. And I think you went to look and see if the right rear tire was flat.
If it wasn't before the accident, it is now.
Now.
Well,
Like it is
Doesn't
flat.
look like flat.
well, I'm sure he'll tell us in a little bit. But a good day gone bad for Michael Waltrip. He's out with 43 laps to go. Joe Nemechek leads the ranks of contenders to win today here in Kansas. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Little interesting situation going on here. Got a new leader in this race. It's Jeff Green, and it happened coming back to the caution flag after the Michael Waltrip crash.
Never seen Nemechek, the 87 car, is slowing down. Here comes Jeff Green. But why Jeff Green is coming so hard, he's trying to keep Randy LaJoy from getting a lap back. And it looked like that Jeff Green at the last second backed off to let Nemechek retain the lead.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. It looked like Jeff right at the last tried to let Joe get back, but he was already at the line.
The 7 car charging up the inside lane is Nemechek's teammate.
Yeah.
So that's why Joe was slowing up, trying to let him get a lap back. During the commercial break, there was a little discussion going on down in the Jeff Green pit stall.
The guy on the left is Brian Patty. He's the crew chief for Joe Nemechek. The guy on the right is Butch Hilton. He's Jeff Green's crew chief. And they're talking about it, and Dave was right there. Tell us all about it, Dave.
Well, let's ask Butch. Actually, Butch has just gotten to see the replay on the big screen there. You and Brian had a conversation. What was the outcome?
Well, it's a gentleman's agreement on coming back to the caution. And the last couple cautions, Joe slowed down quite a bit coming to the caution to let guys get their lap back. Jeff almost hit him in the back, so he popped out to not hit him. Unfortunately, we ended up passing him at the line. So with it just being a gentleman's agreement, NASCAR said it was up to us whether we wanted to take the lead or not. And of course, we're going to want to take the lead if we can.
Like you got a gift that you didn't really mean to take.
No, we really didn't mean to. And you know, Jeff don't feel the greatest about it, but we're here to win the race. And I don't know if we're good enough to, but we sure got the best start here, the starting spot we've had all day on a restart. So we'll take it and go on with it.
You don't want to be like a super duper gentleman and give it back, huh?
No, I don't think so right now. I let him make the call in the car, and he knows what he's up against, so I back him up 100%.
There you go. And remember, the 21 car is really good out front when it's got clean air, guys.
Well, I don't know now, Benny. I may have to.
What?
What? You don't know what?
Well, I don't know if he tried letting Joe give this lap back or not. I mean, if it was a mistake, then he should have given Joe back the spot.
Yeah, the spot.
Because,
right.
yeah, it's real easy to pass somebody like that. So now you got a guy on your bumper that's not going to be very happy, and he's going to run you down the corner as hard as he can, and he's going to try every dirty book every dirty trick in the book to try to get you loose right now, because I feel that was a cheap shot.
No, that's just the way you would do it, every dirty trick in the book, see?
If I got passed like that, you're right. I would pull every dirty trick out of the book I could.
There's nothing saying that under caution Jeff Green couldn't have pulled.
Jeff didn't do anything wrong.
No, listen. If he felt bad about taking the lead that way, if it was a mistake, he could certainly pull over and let Nemechek back in front of him.
That's what I'm saying. So he doesn't feel real bad about it.
No, that's
my point.
He feels a little bad, but not
bad enough to give it back.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens on this restart.
39 laps to go when the green flag waves.
I tell you, Joe Nemechek is standing up right now in that seat.
Kerry Earnhardt with the big jump to the outside of Nemechek. That'll complicate matters for Joe.
Yes, it will, but he's going to be 3 wide as Kerry Earnhardt when he gets to the corner. I don't think he's going to like that.
It's going to complicate matters for Kerry Earnhardt, too. Black flag jumping the restart.
Man.
Third place gone.
Clear. They're posting us.
Randy LaJoie trying to get a lap back. He opens the inside lane.
And Jeff Green knew better than try to come to the bottom of the racetrack because he knew that Nemechek was going to be there.
New leader, Joe Nemechek back out in front. By the way, they've waived off the penalty on Kerry Earnhardt. They decided upon further review he did not jump the restart.
Well, he just goes to second spot. Does Kerry Earnhardt?
I guess because he dropped back in line behind Nemechek that he jumped alongside.
I don't think that's...
That's the word I'm getting from the control tower.
That if you give it back, they don't...
Here comes Kerry Earnhardt for the lead. All right, look at this 12 car. He's going somewhere, Wally.
Pretty strong.
And here comes Jeff Burton. He's on the inside of Jeff Green. Take a spot away. Trying to go by Jason Keller.
Yep.
And the 3 wide. And here goes Biffle by Keller. Man.
Burton inside of Jeff Green. And the new leader is Kerry Earnhardt.
And Jason Keller's off the pace. The 57 car is slow. Did he make contact down the corner with someone and get a flat tire? Didn't sound dead, Wally?
I can't tell. Yeah, there's smoke coming out of the
puff
pipe.
out exhaust pipe.
Man.
Just like that, it changes.
Second place in the Busch Series Championship, and it's going to go up in smoke. And speaking of second place, Jeff Burton. He's got that 9 car rolling.
And that's bad news for Kerry Earnhardt because the 9 car might be very, very good now. Matt, what's Mikey have to say about the crash?
Well, he was just talking to his car owner, wife Buffy. What happened, Michael?
Either I spun out or I had a flat. It was flat when I checked it on the track, and it just all of a sudden turned around getting into 3. I've been real good. When I came off 2, I noticed I got a little loose, but on new tires you're loose sometimes, so I didn't think anything about it, and I got to 3 and spun out. So I don't know if I ran over something or what. The right rear was soft. Maybe that was what caused it. I'm not sure. But what a great car we had. I thought we could win, and had that problem there.
Well, his little daughter Macy turns 5 tomorrow. He's got to wait until tomorrow to give her that 5th birthday present, Benny.
Yeah, have to win the NASCAR Winston Cup race tomorrow.
Kerry Earnhardt in the 12, leading the first laps he's ever led in the NASCAR Busch Series in his 38th start. He took the green flag today in 20th place. But he's got that green car gaining on him quickly.
He's going to have to try to get around Randy as fast as he can, because you're right, Jeff Burton is out there about the same, but lap before he was about 0.2 of a second quicker than Kerry Earnhardt.
Best finish so far this season for Kerry in a Busch Series race. 7th place at Kentucky in June.
Marty, oh, the 57 looks like he's blowing up, Marty.
Well, that's what they were going to run it as long as it could go, and it looked like it just went, BP, as he coasted down the front stretch. He was on 7 cylinders. They initially thought it might be in the ignition box, but indeed it was an internal problem, and now it's gone all the way. So this is heartbreak for these guys because it looked like this was going to be a day where they could gain points for the 2nd week in a row, but that's not going to be the case. They're going to lose a bunch.
He could finish as far back as 34th or 35th today. Greg Biffle runs 4th. What about the 60, Dave?
Latest update on the 60 car, still a little bit loose, but as we know, loose can be fast.
Because it is going to tighten up the farther they go. Normally these cars, as you burn off fuel and you lose some of that weight in the back, they will start picking up a little push.
What do you think Biffle's thinking right there when he goes around Jason Keller's car on the apron in turn 4?
Oh, he's definitely smiling. Lots of free points right there.
Trying to race Joe Nemechek for 3rd position. While up front, still Jeff Burton trying to close on Kerry Earnhardt. Boy, this thing got intense all in a hurry, didn't it?
And I tell you what, right now, as he turns left to go in the garage area, it's like someone's sticking a dagger in his heart, knowing that his best chance for a NASCAR Busch Series championship just turned left in the garage. Now, Jeff Burton tried this high line before to try to get some momentum off these corners and get some downforce on the front. He's going to try it again. Oh, he's got Earnhardt up the hill now.
He ran him in pretty deep that time.
Enough to get alongside. Here he comes, Jeff Burton for the lead. 28 laps to go. Jack Roush looking on as his driver goes back to the point. His other driver, if you will, Greg Biffle, looking to have a big day in the championship. What was it? Back at lap... find my notes. Lap 131 that Biffle stalled leaving the pits. We thought he was the one that was going to have a bad day.
I thought he broke an axle or something. Dave?
You know, a couple laps ago, Jeff Burton's crew radioed him and said, concentrate, concentrate. It's amazing what a little concentration will do. Got him the lead.
Tell you what, the 9 car is a very good race car because he's been able to move up the racetrack and use a higher line when he had to pass cars.
There's Jeff's wife, Kim, looking on. Constant presence in his pit box at the races. And she's not just sitting watching. She's charting every lap he runs. Lap times, speeds. They take that information, go back and compare it with their tires and their pit stops and look it all over.
But Kerry Earnhardt right now has a terrific run going. He just needs to hang on and keep this car going. A second spot finish would be terrific. Marty, you're going to be talking to a very disappointed man.
Yeah, he's coming to look and see the survey of the damage, and he's getting the word as to what it was now. Jason, we started off having fun today, but this is not a fun way to end the day, is it?
No, it's not. Something broke in the motor. It's a bad deal.
Did you give any indication it seemed to happen all of a sudden?
Yeah, no, it just seemed like it lost the cylinder, and all of a sudden it blew out there at the end, but just disappointing.
You guys recover from this, Jason?
Only time will tell.
All right, and this will be the second engine failure in the last 5 races for these guys. They lost an engine at Michigan. That's not the way to win a championship.
Yeah, you're right, Marty.
6 races to go after today for Keller to try and regain the ground on Greg Biffle and fight him out down to Homestead in mid-November.
Timmy Sauter and Coy Gibbs racing side by side. That red-white car, son of Joe Gibbs.
Not racing for a spot. 19 cars. Sauter is on the lead lap. 12th place for him. Coy Gibbs is the 4th car, 1 lap down. And he is in 19th place. Sauter's in 12th.
Here comes Mr. Excitement. Shane Mills, he tries to chase down Stacy Compton. Station, the 59 car. Battle for the, let's see, 12th, 13th position.
You're trying to slide Jimmy Spencer's nickname
I'm
over to Shane.
sitting there looking, where's Jimmy? What's he talking about now?
Well, he's been pretty excited today, Shane.
Yes, he has.
Speaking of Mr. Excitement, he's at 6th.
Very quietly, yeah. Jack Sprague, remember, had the spin earlier in that 24 car. You see the damage in the back of it. He's in 21st place. 1 lap down. And got a little race for 4th spot shaping up here. 33 car, Tony Raines closing on Biffle.
Tony Raines' 33 car has been terrific today.
Got it right down on the bottom still, too. Raines' best finish this season is a 3rd place run at Kentucky. Losing a little ground to Biffle there while he messes with the lap traffic. Tell you what, though, the way that 33 team's been running, It's only a matter of time before they win.
I ran a lot with him at Michigan when I ran my Busch race, and I was impressed. He raced hard.
Tony, one of the number of drivers competing today, who will also be in tomorrow's NASCAR Winston Cup 400-miler. 12:30 Eastern on NBC. Coverage begins.
Well, right now, 4 of the top 5, 6 of the top 7, 8, 6 of the top 7 cars will be competing tomorrow. The only driver not competing, Kerry Earnhardt, in second spot.
Jeff Burton is cruising right now. Last lap he ran 0.3 of a second faster than Kerry Earnhardt, half a second faster than third place Joe Nemechek, and he's starting to put a gap on the rest of the field.
And we see Biffle has caught the 87 car of Joe Nemechek, the battle for the third spot. And Greg caught him, but as soon as he got up behind him, he lost that air on the nose. And look, he lost 3 car lengths as he came off turn 2. Had to back off the throttle. He picked up so much push.
So Biffle looking to add 5 more points. Remember, he led today. Jason Keller is not. That's 5 bonus points difference between the two to start with. If he can pass Nemechek, that'll be another 5 points he'll put between himself and Jason Keller. After starting in 19th place, right in the middle of all the traffic and some of the early goings on. Remember, Biffle has missed 2 accidents that happened around him on the track today, and then had the pit problem at lap 131 that dropped him back in traffic a little bit at that time. And again, he's recovered. Been a pretty good season for Jeff Burton. In this 9 car, does not run every week, but he's run 10 times so far this season. He's visited victory lane on almost 1/3 of those occasions. This was in March, Las Vegas, victory lane. The very next race that he ran was at Darlington, victory lane as well for Jeff Burton. And he picked up his 3rd win, again at Darlington, this one on Labor Day weekend, that rain-shortened race where Burton took the event just at half distance.
Wasn't short for us on the air.
No, it wasn't. Last 4 races he's run, Jeff Burton has finished 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and 3rd. And he's leading here at Chicago now with 16 laps to go. Last year finished 31st here in the Busch Series race. And for tomorrow's Winston Cup 400-miler, Jeff will line up in 15th place. That's a pretty impressive program. Burton made some changes to his Busch Series program this year, putting Brad Parrott in his crew chief. And there's one point early in the season they were talking about going 10 for 10.
Oh, yeah, Brad Parrott, after they won that first one, said, we're going to win them all this year. At least 10. Well, reality struck.
Yeah.
Reality finally set in.
Hate it when that happens. Be another victory party tonight, Kim?
Cat in the hat. Jack Rouse watching on intently. I'll tell you what, Jack Rouse has got a lot on his plate right now. Got Biffle trying to win the NASCAR Busch Series championship. Mark Martin trying to win the NASCAR Winston Cup championship.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd want to be in his shoes right now.
And after what happened with Jack earlier this year, you remember the aircraft accident he had. I think that in my dealings with Jack, when I've talked to him, he has such a more chipper outward appearance than he used to. I think he's enjoying every minute of this, and rightfully so.
Well, I hope so, because not many people get a chance at this. Richard Childress has won both NASCAR Winston Cup and NASCAR Busch Series.
Now, gasoline should not be a problem for Burton, right? He stopped with 70 laps to go. Stopped at 69 laps to go, and we've had a couple of cautions since then, so fuel should not be an issue for them.
It might be for some of these cars. We talked about earlier, some of the guys said they could run 55, 60 laps, so 69 might be pushing the issue for some cars. But trust me, he's not going to stop.
Let's do a little mini through the field here, Dave.
I don't think he will stop. And remember, 2 out of the 3 wins earlier this year, he led the most laps. Another dominating performance for the 9 car. Matt?
Fuel not a problem for Kerry Earnhardt, trying to add another Earnhardt in the Busch Series winners book. He does get a little bit tight, though, especially around other cars. He is losing a little bit of time each lap to the 9, just trying to hang on for what could be his best career finish, a second. Meanwhile, the 87 to Joe Nemechek trying for another top 3 finish. Remember, he won 3 races ago for him, but the car just a little bit on the tight side. Dave?
Speaking of tight, Greg Biffle's loose race car has gone tight from the center of the corner to the exit of the corner. The points leader now seeing his advantage over the 57 car since he dropped out, gaining. Matt?
Dave, back on lap 131, they made a wedge adjustment for the 33 of Tony Range. Remember, they had a great run going at Dover and let it slip away, trying to bounce back. The car is good, but they need long runs to just show how good this race car is, Marty.
Well, David, Matt, it's been a very good run for Jimmy Spencer. Remember, he started at the back of the field, and this is a backup car. He came all the way up to the 6th position thus far. He's singing that aero tight thing. He's tight behind other cars. But right now, the car is pretty good, Dave.
Jeff Green started this run as the leader, has fallen back a bit now. It may be because of his left side tires. Remember the last stop they changed to? Those left sides are 101 laps old at the end of this race. For the 25 car, Fred Wanke, the crew chief, told me, you know what? Our car is really beat up. We're just trying to ride it out. But then again, riding it out in 8th place is pretty good. Matt, Marty?
What a very impressive run from Lyndon Amick, Dave. He stayed in the top 10 all day long, hung in there, and he's not been in a car since Richmond in June. A little too loose right now for Lyndon. He was tied early. They have over-adjusted. He plans to run Atlanta and Homestead later in the year. Very impressive day for this young man, Matt.
Marty, Jimmy Murray told me this morning in the garage, his family is here. This is home racetrack. He was hoping for a top 10 and get back into the points race, trying to make a push for 5th. He was not very optimistic. They tested here. The test didn't go as well. They made a number of adjustments this morning. Right now, the car is tight off the corner. It's loose on entry. They made no changes in their last stop. He currently runs in the 10th position.
15 cars on the lead lap. The rest of those still in the same circuit with the leader. Tim Sauter, Stacy Compton, Kevin LePage, Shane Meal, and Johnny Sauter. So looking ahead to tomorrow's race and what we've seen here today, an outside lane, it's there.
It's not what you want to be to go in there, to really drive that car and to know you're going to have to lean on it. No, it's not there yet. But 400 miles with a heavier race car, they will probably inch the groove up that outside line up just a little bit.
But there's a lot more there than there was last year this time, so they do have something to start with anyway.
And as far as passing and track position and that kind of thing, the guy that's out front now took 4 tires on that stop and passed some of the guys that only took 2. He had a better car than they did before the stops, so did we learn anything from all that strategy?
I don't think so, because again, I think his car is so much superior. The only car that in the race that could really run with Jeff Burton was Michael Waltrip, and he had the flat tire and backed it in the fence. So
yeah, and we learned from Michael, don't cut a tire down because it's going to be big.
When you have a car as good as Jeff Burton's, you can change 4 tires and fall back in the pack to 7th or 8th.
4 laps to go for Burton. 3.2 seconds in front of Kerry Earnhardt. What a great job Kerry has done today. If he can hang on behind Burton and come up with a 2nd place finish. For Burton now, it's just a matter of running out the laps. 3 to go.
But it's a race car, and you never know what's going to happen to these things.
Championship today going to be the big headline. When this one's over, it'll say Burton wins, but Keller falls out. He's going to finish in 30th place, and Greg Biffle is going to gain a bunch. Running in 4th right now. Doesn't look like a threat to overtake Joe Nemechek for third, nor does it appear under pressure from Tony Raines to lose that spot. So if he can finish these final couple of laps, the lead's going to go from 35 to 127. And there'll be 6 races to go in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. Lap and a half for Jeff Burton.
Several cars right in front of him, but Kim marked down the last lap. But he has such a lead on Kerry Earnhardt that those cars, he could almost stop if something happens.
78,000 here beginning to stand for the final lap salute to Jeff Burton. White flag is up. Brad Parrott, the crew chief, saying one more time. Jeff Burton started today's race on the outside of the front row. He'll have led 48 of today's 200 laps. Pick up his 19th career NASCAR Busch Series victory and his 4th of 2002.
Looks like last week's winner Scott Wimmer right in front of Burton.
Good day for Roush Racing. They're going to get the win and a big gain in the championship. Jeff Burton takes the Mr. Goodcents 300 at Kansas. It's second running to the Winston Cup star. Kerry Earnhardt's career best ever Busch Series finish for second. And Greg Biffle comes home in 4th, while Jason Keller will finish in 30th spot. Once he got free of the mayhem there in that last restart shuffle that we had, Burton set sail.
Bad news for everybody else.
Kerry Earnhardt, that 12 car, would love to have gotten his first Busch Series victory today. Marty, what's Brad? Brad jumping up and down there?
Oh, he's already jumped up and down, and now he's calmed down a little bit. Did you know, Brad, the 4 tires was going to be the key because some guys beat you off pit road and took 2 and none?
Well, it's hard not to go against 4 Goodyear Eagles. They were awesome today. The tires, you know, we came and tested last week, and that was the key, is coming here and testing the new right side tire, and the Gain Ford Taurus with that horsepower in under the hood was awesome today.
A good day for your entire team as your teammate Greg Biffle makes a big gain in the points. Jeff Burton and the Roush team head to victory lane.
Burton led 48 of the 200 laps. 15 different drivers led today's race. 19 lead changes. 9 caution flags today. The oval was the place to be. Here are the results from today's race.
See 10 cars. Jim McMurray, Linda Namick. Impressive runs by both those drivers.
Some guys in there came back from some troubles too. Biffle, Spencer, Jeff Green. Remember, Jeff got spun out the first couple laps of the race.
15 cars finish on the lead lap. Johnny Sauter, the last one of those. Shane Meal finishes 14th.
Scott Riggs, the penalty, then the problems with the spark plug that put him a lap down. Ended up 23rd today. He led the most laps, 52 out of the 200.
Michael Walker, 33rd today after such a great run.
13 cars failed to finish today. Kerry Earnhardt, career best Busch Series result. Matt?
Well, you would have thought Kerry Earnhardt won the race. Tim Fido, while your coach came by, everybody coming in, hugs and kisses. It has been a struggle, but is this the sign of things to come, Kerry?
Yeah, I hope so. Man, it's a shame 9 car had to be in this race because he's the only one we had to contend with. We had a strong car. Happy hour yesterday. The guys on the Supercuts team done an awesome job all weekend. Eddie and Bob and Tito and Brian, all the guys on this team.
And you were lobbying that 9 car. Hey, he's won some races. If you get a chance, you wouldn't mind winning one yourself.
Yeah, I try to get him out there. If I get close enough, maybe, you know, keep in mind I might bump him a little bit. But we didn't have nothing for him. He was strong, class act all day. Awesome car. But the number 12 Chevrolet Supercuts Chevrolet Monte Carlo was a great day. It felt good to be able to run a whole race and not get wrecked or end up wrecking somebody. Thank y'all. I wanted it though. Thank you.
And Brad Parrott even coming down and congratulating Kerry Earnhardt. Dave comes home a career best second.
And Jeff Burton climbing out in victory lane. The crew's made it down here. And, oh my goodness. I'm not sure what we've been shot with down here, but it's a celebration as Jeff wins his 4th Busch Series race of the year in 11 tries. You know, that's a pretty good average in any sport, but really good in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's an awesome team. These guys,
They just do an incredible job. I'm so proud of them. They work so hard. And they have fun doing it. You know, it's a lot of fun to be around them. They come to the racetrack and have fun. They're at the shop having fun. It's just a good group of guys.
How about Brad Parrott working with you to make the call to put on 4 and not worry about going 2 and getting track position?
Brad Parrott makes the calls. It's his deal. He makes the calls. I trust him 100%. We put on 4. That was definitely the right thing to do. And he's done a great job. He's shown everybody how capable he is, and had a lot of fun working with his dad, and I'm having a lot of fun working with him.
You're going to race tomorrow as well, Jeff. What did you learn today that will apply for tomorrow?
Fastest car wins. That's what we got to have. Fastest car.
Oh, come on. Little things about the car that you might have learned?
Fastest car wins. That's the way it works.
All right. He was the fastest here today in his 230th start here in the Busch Series, guys.
Jeff Burton celebrating, and Greg Biffle's got reason to celebrate today, too. His advantage in the Busch Series Championship from 35 to 127 points with 6 races to go. Marty?
And he has a smile because he finished 4th. Big day in the points for you. Were you aware of Jason Keller's problems?
Not really. It looked like Burton and I were gaining on him there, and then something must have happened to him, to his engine, mechanical, whatever it did. Looked like he got a flat tire or anything, so, you know, it was just a good day for the Granger car. I mean, the guys did a good job, worked on it all day. I stalled it on pit road there, couldn't get it started. I'm not sure why. I've never had that happen before, but, you know, I didn't have it flooded, which, you know, normally that's what you do. It was a little too lean and couldn't get it restarted, but overall good day. Just wish I wasn't, you know, would have been a little closer on the chassis setup, run with the top 3 guys, but we're happy with 4th.
What were you thinking happened? I mean, did you know that it was something you had done, or were you thinking maybe you broke an axle or a gear or something like that?
Oh, no, I couldn't get it started, you know, so it stalled there, and 26 car blocked us in. Probably didn't mean to, but this pit road's tight, and I jumped the clutch, tried to get around him, couldn't do it, so it was pretty tough.
But the bigger picture is 35 up and to now 127 up in the points chase, Alan.
Yep, big day in the championship today. This will be a headline moment when they decide the title list later on in the season. Little post-race fireworks. Remember earlier in the race, Casey Mears talking about Shane Neal and this incident on the racetrack? They took Casey's car behind the wall and fixed it up and went back out on the racetrack. And if I recall correctly, his words were something like, if NASCAR won't do something about it, somebody else will. Well, when he came down pit road,
they parked real close together.
Real close together. And had a little discussion.
Okay, parked close enough he couldn't get out of the car.
Couldn't get out of the car.
That's pretty good. That's a good little dirty trick. I like that.
Fun. All right. Tomorrow, Sprint presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Kansas. The Winston Cup Championship fight continues, starting with Discover Card Countdown to Green at 12:30 Eastern Time. World's most dramatic police chases coming up next on TNT. More fender-to-fender action.
You're in a couple of those, aren't you, BP?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not any of those.
Good day for Jack Roush. Wins the race. His driver gets a big gain in the championship. Wild day here in Kansas. 9 caution flags. A little controversial penalty, or at least in the mind of the crew chief. Little post-race fireworks from that. When it was all said and done, though, Jeff Burton had the dominant car, ran away from the field at the finish, and picked up his 4th victory of 2002. Tomorrow, NBC, 12:30 Eastern Time. Join us for more NASCAR.